I'm glad you jumped on this training today, and I think you're going to appreciate what we're going to be discussing. Because what we're going to talk about is how to talk about Worth Unlimited. We know it's a great program, but what do you say, and what is the easiest way to get folks interested in learning more and having a free savings analysis done? Well, if you're in an industry where you already are talking to clients about money, finances, or real estate, then Worth just becomes an organic part of that conversation that you're going to have with those clients. And we're going to cover that specifically in another call. But what if you don't have that kind of warm market? What if you're not in a business where you have that kind of credibility with people? Well, for the rest of us, how about recruiting? The beauty about a recruiting approach is that, for one thing, there's not a do not call list for business to business. So we can cold call professionals all day long. The other thing is that a recruiting approach takes the pressure off because we're not trying to sell them anything. We're not even approaching them directly about the product. We're approaching them about the opportunity to be able to earn more money doing what they already do. And who doesn't like an opportunity to earn more money? So, let's look at the different types of professionals we could be calling. And let me also point out to you why this approach works. The reason this approach works is that in their due diligence process about learning about this program, a lot of these professionals that we're talking to are going to realize that this program is something they want for themselves. Just as many of these professionals have mortgages and debt as do the rest of the population out there, and as do their clients. Okay, so that's why this approach works so well. It's just a numbers game. We're going to call them, we're going to talk about the program, we're going to have that conversation, and as part of that process, they're going to learn about the program, and a percentage of those people will buy the program. The rest of them have an opportunity to become a referral partner like ourselves, and will be earning overrides off the referrals they make. Okay, so this approach works really well. Now, before we actually launch into what we're going to say to these people, let's be clear on what the hot buttons are for different industries. And there's always a little different ones from industry to industry, so it helps to really kind of know what these are, because you're not going to be reading a script or anything like that. You're just going to be having an organic conversation. Well, what's in it for them besides just the opportunity to earn more money? With realtors and mortgage brokers, one of their hot buttons is that this program helps build equity in real estate really quickly. Do they have clients that are upside down in their property? Are they losing deals because clients are upside down in their property? Do they work with real estate investors? And of course it's going to benefit them if they can show their real estate investors that they can be able to pay off 5 properties in the time it would normally take them to pay off 2 or 3. Okay, so that's one hot button for them. Another benefit for realtors and mortgage brokers is this is a way for them to go back and create income from their dead files. And what do I mean dead files? I mean that those clients that they put into mortgages and or real estate in the last few years, they're not going to come back around and buy real estate from them anytime soon, but this is an opportunity for them to pick up the phone, work that client list, generate some income from that client list through Worth Unlimited, but also generate referrals from that client list as well. It gives them an excuse to pick up the phone and call. Now, it also gives them a way to generate referrals from other professionals, because just like I'm showing you this approach, they can use the same approach to recruit referral partners for Worth Unlimited, and if they focus on professions that are also good professions for real estate referrals or mortgage referrals, then they're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, another benefit for them is that this is a way to make money from and help their turn downs. When they have somebody that's turned down for a mortgage, often it's because they have too high a debt to income ratio or their credit score is not quite good enough. So by introducing them to this program, they have an opportunity to show that client a way that they can qualify for a mortgage a lot faster, because this will help them pay down that debt. It will organically improve their credit score. And then it's also a way for them to make some commission from that turn down, whereas otherwise their time with that turn down is probably wasted. Now, let's look at one of our best referral partners, financial planners and insurance agents. These are hands down our #1 best sources of referrals, because one, they get this program, they understand it intrinsically, okay? Two, if they're big picture thinkers, they automatically, when they look at this program, bells start going off in their head when they start thinking about all the ways this benefits them and their core business. Okay, one of the biggest ways it benefits their core business is by lowering client attrition. Okay, people in general are not very good money managers. And I read in a financial planning magazine years ago that of all the clients that go to a financial planner to have that financial plan or that retirement plan laid out for them, that at the end of year 1, only 14% of those clients have stuck to that plan unchanged. The rest of them have either canceled it or they've lowered their monthly contribution to it. Okay, so financial planners and insurance people are always looking at that challenge of client retention. Okay, well, our program is so good at motivating people to stick to their financial plan that after the first 4 years of selling this program, we found that 95% of our clients had stuck to the program. They were still using it. And not only that, our average client gets 20% better results than what we initially projected for them in their savings analysis, which leads to the second benefit for these financial planners and insurance people, which is that this program will help clients to manage their money so well, it frees up additional discretionary income for them. And that additional discretionary income can go toward their retirement plan. Now, saying that, I also want to make it perfectly clear that one of the things that you do need to point out to financial planners and insurance people is that our program is totally flexible and it's totally adaptable to anybody's financial approach. Okay, and what I mean by that is this. We kind of market the program as a way to pay down your mortgage and get completely out of debt, but not everybody wants to get completely out of debt. Some people want to take a more sophisticated approach to their financial future, meaning that they want to pay down their higher interest rate debt, but they want to keep that low interest rate mortgage, especially if they've got a 2 or 3% mortgage and they've got an annuity or a retirement account that's paying them a guaranteed 8%. Okay, if they have something like that, they're not going to want to pay that mortgage off. They're going to want to just attack the higher interest rate debt and then take every penny of the discretionary income that they've freed up once they paid off that debt and pump it into their retirement accounts. Okay, and so this is a huge benefit for professionals in this industry, because it will they actually will see that their clients' contributions go up, and that also means that their residual income from products that they've already sold will actually maintain itself or even go up. Now, another reason that this is a great program is it's simply a great phone calling tool for them. Financial planners and insurance people are always buying lead lists. And when they buy these lead lists, they're buying it, and that same lead list is probably being sold to 15 other people. So it's sort of a race to get to the client and get their attention before their competitors do. Well, the nice thing about our program is that when they're calling people about our program, they're calling them about something different, and they're really standing out from the crowd. Also, this is a great way for them to go back and generate more income from the clients that they already have. Going back to the clients that they have and getting them on this program, they'll generate a little bit more income for themselves immediately, and again, they'll be making sure that those clients going forward are sticking to their financial plan. Now, a lot of our financial planners and insurance folks have used our program as a closing tool as well. And what I mean by that is this. Quite often what happens when they go to talk to a client is they're showing that client their annuity, for instance, and they're like, wow, you should set up this annuity, contribute $500 a month to it, and by the time you retire, you're going to have $2 million, blah, blah, blah. And the people, all they hear is $500 a month. And they're like, $500 a month? I can't afford to put $500 a month into my retirement account. And this program is a great way for them to not only show their client that, yes, they can afford $500 a month, but not only can they afford $500 a month, look, you can afford $500 a month and you're still going to pay off your mortgage 10 years early or 15 years early. Okay? Our program can be adjusted. I generally, when I'm talking to somebody that has that more sophisticated approach to their finances, I generally suggest when they get on the program, play around with it. Okay? Start looking at what is the maximum you can be pumping into your retirement account and yet still have your mortgage paid off by the date you retire. Okay? And you can do that once you get on the program. And then, of course, another benefit is that this program will generate a lot more referrals for them. Ask anybody you know that's a financial planner or insurance agent how many of their clients really refer new clients to them. It just doesn't happen in any great numbers. Frankly, because financial planning and insurance is not that exciting to most people, and it's not something that comes up in our everyday conversation. However, the Worth account generates a ton of referrals for a couple of reasons. One, people get really, really excited about it when they get on the program and they realize that they're saving, tens of thousands of dollars. Our average client is saving over $120,000. Okay? Our average client is saving over $900 in interest every month that they're using this program. People get excited about it and they tell people about it. And then, of course, they refer. And they refer a lot of times just because they want to refer. But now we have this new refer and earn system. We're also rewarding them with referring because every single client has the opportunity to refer and earn just like a financial planner does. And when they do refer to this program, who are they going to immediately pick up the phone and call first? They're going to call that financial planner or that insurance agent that told them about the program. Okay? And so all of those referrals generated can become potential new clients for that financial planner's business or that insurance agent's business. So these are the hot buttons for the financial industry. And you want to really just kind of be clear on what they are so that when you're talking to them, they just kind of flow naturally and you remember to bring them up. Now let's talk about credit counselors. That's a big industry out there right now, and I just kind of lump them all in together. There's different credit counseling types of businesses, and you're going to find some are going to be excellent referral sources, some maybe not so much. It's going to depend, okay? But for the type of credit counselor that is helping people set up, say, a debt settlement program or a debt consolidation loan or something like this, this is a perfect program for them to recommend to their clients. Because one, it's going to help their client stick to their debt settlement program, and it's going to help their client overall for the rest of their life keep from getting in that position again. Because if people are really honest with themselves, they will admit that yes, the recession was bad, the economy collapsing was bad, but in reality, if they had been good money managers all along, it wouldn't have been as bad for them. Because they would not have had debt. They would have had money in the bank. They would have had savings, etc. But that didn't happen. In 2005, when the economy was doing great, before the economy collapsed, America had the lowest rate of personal savings since 1933, which was the worst year of the Great Depression. Well, what was the excuse for not having any savings when the economy was doing well? Well, frankly, just because people are in general not great money managers across the board. So this program really does help people. It sets people up to be successful the rest of their life with their finances. Okay. Now, of course, the other reason this is a good program is it's a great way to generate referrals because a credit counselor could be calling folks in professions that are not only good referral sources for Worth, but good referral sources for their credit counseling business. Okay. It's also a great phone calling tool. It's kind of awkward for a credit counselor to be, just randomly calling people out there to see if they have debt issues they can help them with, okay? However, calling people about this program is great because this program isn't for people that are necessarily in bad financial distress. This program is for anybody that wants to be smarter with their money that wants to pay less interest on the debt, pay down their debt, and build wealth and build a retirement account for themselves. And so this actually gives a credit counselor two things to be talking to people about. They can call them if the person is not in real bad financial distress, then great, just talk about the Worth product. If they're in financial distress, they may or may not be a candidate for Worth, but they may be a candidate for their core business. Another way that this program can really happen is it'll help them increase their referrals overall, which really doesn't happen in their business otherwise. I mean, go ask a credit counselor how many of their clients really refer other clients. It's not a big number. And it's not a big number because most people are embarrassed to tell their friends and family that they had to go to a credit counselor. So you think that's going to come up in conversation? No. But they're excited about using the Worth account. They can tell their friends and family about the Worth account and how smart they're being with their money and how they're saving all this money. And, when they say, how did you find out about it? Well, I happened to find out about it from a friend of mine who, also does some credit counseling and stuff like that. So, it's a great way to just generate those referrals. And if those people are thinking to themselves, wow, I might need the other services too, again, generate referrals. And then, of course, the other way that this really helps people is one of the things these credit counselors promise people is that they're going to help them with their credit and they're going to help them improve their credit score down the road. And this program also does that. Every client that gets on this program has their credit start to improve just organically. Now, accountants and CPAs. Accountants and CPAs can be great referral sources for our business, or they can be a little difficult. It's hard to really know. You'll be able to tell pretty quickly when you start to talk to that accountant or CPA. The reason I say that it can be a little yes or no is that because some accountants and CPAs can be very left-brained, meaning that they're very, very intelligent people and they're very detail-oriented numbers people, but they don't always necessarily understand the psychological side of what we do. Okay? The psychological side of our program is as important, if not more important, than the math that our program does. Yes, our program's a great financial GPS system. It's going to get people out of debt really quickly. But one of its biggest benefits is how well it motivates people to stay on track with their financial plan. That's the part of it that some of the accountants and CPAs won't get. And so you need to know that so that you can really point that out to them. Because accountants and CPAs are generally good with numbers. They may not just intrinsically understand that the majority of the population is not like them, is not good with numbers. Okay? So remember that when you're talking to them. Now, the benefits to the accountants and CPAs are that, it's a way for them to show their client how to save more money. And it's a way for them to show their client how to bring them better records. Okay? Because our program now does all kinds of detailed reports, which will help people at tax time. Okay? Now, this means also that you're helping a client not only save money by paying less interest on their debt, but if somebody is a self-employed person, then with this better record keeping, you're going to probably help them save thousands of dollars on their income taxes every year. Because I taught tax law for about 8 years, and the one thing I learned teaching tax law is that the majority of people overpay their taxes for two reasons. One, they either don't understand what's deductible, so they're missing a lot of deductions, and then even on the deductions they do understand that they can take, they're bad record keepers. Well, our program helps people be better record keepers, and I know from personal experience it will help people keep better track of their tax deductions and save money on their taxes as well. Okay? Now, the other way that this can help an accountant or CPA is, again, just increasing referrals to their core business. Because, again, they probably don't get a lot of referrals from their clients because, you don't really talk to people that much about who does your taxes and who does your books, unless somebody asks you. But clients love our program, and so they will refer. And then each one of those referrals to the Worth program is also a potential referral for their core business of accounting or taxes. Okay? Now that we kind of know what's in it for all these people, how do we find these people? Well, there's all kinds of ways to find these people. We can find them through the internet. We can find them through social media. We can find them through the yellow pages. Okay? But let's look at how to specifically find some of the industries that we want to find. Obviously, the National Association of Mortgage Brokers, great place for mortgage professionals. Same thing with the National Association of Mortgage Professionals. Realtor.com, great way to find realtors. You can just go to Realtor.com, put in any city in the country. It'll pull up a bunch of realtors and their phone numbers. You'll call them. As you're talking to them, you'll get their email address, put them in your pipeline. NAIFA, the National Association for Insurance and Financial Advisors, great organization. Their members are all going to be good potential referral sources for this program. And then, of course, just in general, you can find a lot of people through local networking groups, the Chamber of Commerce. Start with your own Facebook and LinkedIn contacts. Okay, I find that works really well because, the approach of just calling somebody that's one of your LinkedIn contacts, it's like, hey, I don't know if my name sounds familiar to you. I'm Sue Copening. I don't believe we've ever met in real life, but we're LinkedIn contacts. And people, when you say, oh yeah, I'm one of your LinkedIn contacts, they're like, oh, hi, it's really amazing how, like, they may have never met you in person, but because you're a contact on social media, they're instantly friendly and chatty and wanting to talk to you. Okay. And then another way you can get leads is through the public library. And that can be an excellent source of leads. In fact, one of the approaches some of my agents are taking is to take this program to large employers as an employee benefit. And through the public library, you could find companies, very easily research those companies that have, say, 500 employees or more. And the Reference USA database you can access for free through most public libraries, and you can access it online. So all you need is a library card and a number. You go to their website, you sign on, you access the Reference USA database. Boom, you've got thousands and thousands of leads. Really, frankly, over 100,000 leads around the United States that you could choose from. So that's where you find your people. Now, what do you say when you actually call people? Well, you don't want to act like you're reading a script. I actually have a nice little script, and I can email it to you. So you kind of know how the conversation flow should kind of go, because you want to kind of guide the conversation a little bit, but you don't want to be like reading a script. You just want to start a conversation. So ask a question, and then let them ask you questions, and then let your whole conversation be guided by what they're asking you. Okay, so you might start off with just introducing yourself. Hi, I don't know if my name sounds familiar to you. My name's Sue Copening. I'm one of your LinkedIn contacts. Oh, hi, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. But, the reason I was calling is because, I noticed that you actually are a financial planner. Yeah. And well, the reason I'm calling is because as a financial planner, you might be interested in a program from a company that I work with. We actually have a program that's a great value-added service that we market through financial planners like yourself. It's a program that most, if not all, of your clients need, and we pay you up to $1,000 for just referring your clients. Now, do you like getting referral fees? Is that something you'd be interested in learning more about? And they're generally going to, it's always a numbers game. If you call randomly 10 people, you might have one person that say, oh, no, I don't really do things with referral fees, whatever, Okay, fine. Oh, okay, no problem. Well, thanks. Have a great day. Okay? But I guarantee you 9 out of 10 people are going to come back and they're going to say, well, I might be. What is it? And so then you tell them a little bit about the program. Not a lot, just a little. You might say something along the lines of, well, one of the big challenges that I know you have in your industry as a financial planner is getting your clients to stick to their financial plan. Wouldn't you agree with that? And they're going to say, well, yeah, I do. In fact, they might carry on the conversation a little bit more. But whatever they say, that's your little foot in the door. And you go, well, one of the great things about this program that we sell, and what we're actually selling, is a money management program for your clients that'll keep your clients on track with their financial goals. In fact, this program is so good at motivating your client and getting them inspired to reach those financial goals that we actually have tracked our clients and found that after 4 years, 95% of our clients have stuck to their financial plan. Now, don't you wish 95% of your clients stuck to their financial plan? Ask them a question. Every time you give them a little bit of information, end it with a question for them. And then let them come back and talk. okay? And then they're going to ask you a little bit more about the program. And so then give them the other highlights of the program. Our program is something that is needed by anybody out there that has debt. Okay, our program helps people manage their money and pay off debt very quickly. In fact, our average client is saving over $120,000 in interest on the various debts they have, and they're getting completely debt-free in about a third of the normal time, somewhere between a third and half of the normal time. Now, the beauty of our program is that it's not a one-size-fits-all. It works for people regardless of what their financial goals are and how they want to approach them. For many of our clients, their goal is to just get debt-free as quickly as possible and then take every penny of their discretionary income after they're debt-free, which can be several extra $1,000s each month, and then throw that money into their retirement account. For some people, they might want to only pay off their higher interest rate debt, leave their lower interest rate mortgage alone, and then pump all their money into their retirement accounts. And then maybe toward the end, accelerate their mortgage just enough to where they get their mortgage paid off before they retire. But this program works so well that our average client is getting 20% better results than what we projected for them with their savings analysis. So think about that for your clients. If your clients were on our program and they were getting 20% better results, meaning that they're actually freeing up 20% more discretionary income, what can they do with that income? They can put it in their retirement account. Can you see how this would tie in really well to what you already are doing in your business? Let them answer that question. And then they're going to ask you a few other questions, and you're going to explain different things about the program. You're going to explain that, it doesn't cost them anything to come on board with us as a referral partner other than a refundable enrollment fee. Okay? And then explain to them that enrollment fee is refundable as long as they refer somebody in the first 30 days that gets the program. Well, that's pretty much a no-brainer. Then go over some of the other benefits that helps them in their industry. Again, every time you give them a little bit of information, ask them a question. In fact, sometimes my general question that I ask people when I'm explaining things is I'll give them a little bit of information like this and I'll go, does that make sense? And I just ask them, that's just a great way to just kind of like, does that make sense? Because if you ask them that question and then pause, then they will generally come back and say something to you that kind of furthers the conversation or maybe even asks a question. But anyway, that's what all you want to do really is just start that conversation. Just remember what your hot buttons are for the program with each profession, and then remember what the benefits are for the program in general. Okay? For instance, we're a money management system that's designed to keep people on track with their financial goals. Our program pays off debt very quickly and helps people build wealth. Our average client is saving over $120,000. That means that they're saving over $900 in interest each month they're using our program until they're debt-free. Our average client is paying off a 30-year mortgage and all of their debt in 7 to 11 years. And they're still building their retirement account at the same time. In fact, if you look at our average client and where they are using our program versus where they were before they got on the program, doing what they were previously doing, our average client over a 30-year period ends up over $500,000 ahead of where they would have been had they not made the decision to do this program. Okay? And so just give them the little highlights of the program. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions. If there's questions that you can't answer, no big deal. However, I always like to clarify with them how important that question is. Okay? A lot of times it's not really a big deal. So if they ask the question, I might say something along the lines of, well, you know what? I'm not really sure about the answer to that question. Would it be okay if I got back to you with that answer later on? And they're probably going to say, oh yeah, no problem, Or I'll say, well, I'll make sure I find that out for you and I'll get back to you via email or whatever. If it's a deal breaker kind of a question that they really need to know, then that's a really good excuse to pick up the phone and call me. Okay? Do a 3-way phone conversation with me. or just get their permission for me to call them. Remember that I'm always here as your backup. So if you have somebody that you want me to call, simply text me. Okay, you've got my phone number, my cell number. If you don't, it's on my website, the teamsue.com website. Program it into your phone so you always have it. Text me your client's name and their phone number, a little bit about their who they are, what they do, what their question is. I'll be happy to call them back for you. Okay? So anyway, so now what you want to do is you just want to kind of guide this conversation. And what's going to happen is at some point in this conversation with the people, you're going to realize that they really are interested in this program. Okay? So what I like to do is this. I get to that point and I just say, well, you know what? It sounds like you really are pretty interested in, coming on board with us as a referral partner and, earning some referral fees by turning your clients onto our program. Am I reading that correctly? And they're going to say, well, yeah, I am pretty interested. And then a lot of times I'll even make it a joke. And I'll say, you say you're really interested, but, I know from experience that sometimes people say they're interested and they're really just being nice. They're being polite, So let me just ask you to be a little honest with me. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you'd really rather be de-fleeing your dog right now, and 10 being you're ready to rock and roll, you're ready to go, where would you say you are? And I'll kind of make it into a little joke, and they'll usually laugh. And if they're interested, they're going to tell you they're an 8. And almost inevitably, they use the 8, okay? Which leaves you a great opening, which is, wow, an 8, that does sound like you really are interested. What would it take to move you from an 8 to a 10? Ask them that question. What would it take to move you from an 8 to a 10? What are they going to say? 9 times out of 10, they say some variation of this. Well, I'd really like to see the program in action. I'd really like to see how the program works. Something along those lines, which is a great opportunity for you to say what? Well, what I would recommend is that you let me set you up for an appointment to have a one-on-one demo done. Because that's how this program that's how the company shows everybody the program. They'll do a one-on-one demo, and they'll actually even use your own numbers in that demo and do a free savings analysis for your own situation. Unless, of course, you're debt-free. Are you debt-free? And let them answer that question. And that's when you kind of find out, are they a candidate for being a referral partner and being a client, or are they just a candidate for being a referral partner? Now, some people might tell you, well, I am debt-free. I only have 2 years left on my mortgage, and I don't have any other debt. In which case, you'd say to them, well, 2 years left on your mortgage probably really isn't going to work well enough on your situation to really do that particular kind of thing with the demo appointment using your numbers. But a lot easier way for you to see it is, why don't I send you a nice video that we have of a demo? How would that be? And they'll be like, oh, okay, that'd be great. And then what you do is you send them the demo that is on the Worth Unlimited website, and you'll be able to access it from the Team Sue website as well. And I would also send them one of the recorded versions of the Wednesday Opportunity Call, because that recorded version of the Wednesday Opportunity Call gets into how some of the math of this program works and how the software is sort of programmed on the math side. Okay. Now, if they do have debt, then what you're going to do is you're going to go, oh, well, that's great that you have debt. Well, it's not so great that you have debt, but it's great that you actually have some numbers that we're going to be able to use in order to do a demo for you and to even actually do a savings analysis for you. Let me explain to you how that works. What I can do today is I can go ahead and I'll do it before we hang up, if it's okay with you. I'll put you on hold, and I'll call into the company, and I'll let you compare your calendar with the company's calendar, and you can set up a time for them to call you back and to get those numbers from you that they can do your demo with, okay, and your savings analysis with. Now, what they need to do that is they don't need any confidential information. And you're going to want to kind of pay attention to this part, because when you're talking to one of your clients to refer them, you're going to be explaining the same thing to them. The company doesn't need any confidential information that could lead to, for instance, identity theft. They do not need your account numbers. They do not need to know the name of your bank or the names of where any of your accounts are. They only need what I call the generic numbers: the balances, the interest rates, and the payment amounts that you make to those debts each month. Then they need an idea of your income. If you're in sales and your income is up and down, just give them an average. And they need an idea of your discretionary income, how much money you have left over at the end of the month. And I always suggest people be a little conservative with that, okay? But does that make sense? Would you feel comfortable with those numbers? And I ask them that. Would you feel comfortable with those numbers? And I make sure that they say yes, they'd feel comfortable, because I'm not going to make an appointment for somebody if they don't say that they would feel comfortable giving out those numbers, okay? And then, so they say they're comfortable with the numbers. Then what I do is I go ahead and I put them on hold and I dial into the company. But I'll do it generally this way. I'll go, well, okay, if it's okay with you, I'll put you on hold right now. I'll dial in. We're going to set up a time for them to call you back, and you can get those numbers. They're only going to need about 5 to 10 minutes to get those numbers. It doesn't take very long. And then at that time, they will set up a follow-up appointment with you to do the one-on-one demo, because that takes a little longer. It can take anywhere from 20 minutes to, they'll allow up to an hour for it, just so they can answer all your questions. Okay? Does that make sense? Is that okay? Would you feel comfortable with that? Yes, they do. Okay, great. So then I go, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put you on hold. Oh, wait a minute. Before I put you on hold and call into them, I should have asked you, you don't by any chance have all those numbers handy right now, do you? I mean, do you have your monthly statements right there where you can get your hands on them in the next minute or two? Because you know what? If you're calling them at home, if they're like a lot of us that work from home, they've got that stuff right there. Okay? And they may say, well, yeah, I could actually pull up a lot of those numbers. You might even suggest, do you by any chance do a lot of that stuff online? You can maybe pull them up while we're on the phone. They say yes, then go, oh, okay, well, why don't we do this? I'll go ahead and call into them. While you're on hold, go ahead and start getting those numbers together. And, even if you can't give them all the numbers, at least you will get the ball rolling, and we'll give them as many as we can. Okay? And then go ahead and call into the company. When you call into the company, what you want to do is just introduce yourself to whoever answers the phone. It might be Luciano, whoever it is, Paulina. Give them your agent ID number, and then tell them that you have a client on the phone, and then ask them if the client does have their numbers ready. Say, my client has their numbers ready right now. Do you have time to go ahead and get the numbers? 9 times out of 10, they will have time to get the numbers right then. Or you're going to tell them, my client doesn't have their numbers right now. They just really want to set up a time for you to call them back to get the numbers. Okay? And then go ahead and 3-way your client into them. And what I like to do is, after I introduce them to the company, and I'll 3-way them into the company, I'll go, Luciano, this is Bob Green. Bob, this is Luciano. And they'll say hi to each other, and then I'll kind of break back in. I'll go, Bob, I know you really don't need me listening in while you're talking to Luciano about your numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute myself off the call, and I'm going to go get a cup of coffee while you guys are talking. Now, I won't know when you're done with your conversation, so just go ahead and end the call. And you have my number. You can call me back. If I haven't given him the number yet, I'll give it to him. And I will call back to you and follow up with you in the next day or so to see if there's any other questions you have. Is that okay? Okay, great. And then I let them talk. Okay. Now, if you have, you're making these calls, these are your goals that you want to make, you want to have with making the calls. Let's say you call 10 people. Out of those 10 people, one of those persons isn't going to be interested. Okay. Out of those 10 people, one of those people will probably not only be interested, but interested enough that you'll be able to get an appointment set up for them right away. Okay? The other 8 out of those 10 calls, those are the ones that we work with, because 10% never will. 10% will, and they'll do it quickly. And the other 80% is people that are going to say they're interested, they're not sure, they're too busy to really look at anything right now, yada, yada, yada. And you're going to work with that 80%. Sometimes it's going to be that, well, it does sound really interesting, but I don't have a lot of time to talk right now. I'm getting ready to run out. And you're going to go, no problem. I'll tell you what, why don't I just get your email address? I'll send you some information to look at via email, and I'll call you back in a couple of days. Great. And then find out when they want you to call them back. Try to set up an appointment to call them back, because that will motivate them to look at your email so that they don't feel foolish when you call back and they haven't looked at it yet. Okay? Now, that also works really well on those people that initially said that they're really not very interested. Sometimes when I ask people that, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll get people that say, oh, I guess I'm about a 5. And if they say they're about a 5, if somebody doesn't tell me they're at least an 8, I assume that they're really not that interested. And then I just try to get them off the phone. And I'll go, oh, well, if you're only really a 5, it really doesn't sound like you're really that interested yet. And I understand, because, sometimes, you can call somebody and they're busy with something else, or kind of distracted, whatever. I may not have said just the right things yet to really show you how this can really impact your business. But if it's okay, why don't I do this? Why don't I go ahead and let you go for now, but let me get your email address so I can send you some information by email. That way you can look at it when you're in a more quiet place and you're not distracted. And if you see something, which I have confidence you will, when you see that one thing that hits your hot button and you all of a sudden realize, oh my gosh, this is really something I need to be doing, call me back, okay? But at least you'll get the information. I'll kind of keep in touch with you via email. Is that okay? And you know what? 9 times out of 10, people are happy to give you their email address, okay? And what's interesting, too, is when they realize that you're trying to get them off the phone, they all of a sudden get more interested. It's really funny how that works, okay? So anyway, so your goal is to basically just sort through these calls, because it's always going to be a certain percentage will, a certain percentage won't. Who cares? Next, okay? But as you're doing this, I think you're going to find that probably about 10% of the people that you talk to will end up getting the program right away, okay? And you'll be able to get them an appointment booked quickly. They'll make a decision quickly. They'll get the program right away. Another chunk of them will get the program, but it might not be this month. It might not be this week. It's going to be a little down the road. A chunk of them won't need the program because they're already debt-free, or they're in such financial distress right now that they really don't qualify for it. Obviously, we can't sell the program to people that are currently, spending more money than they make. That doesn't work. However, they still could be great referral sources, and once they start earning more money with our program, then they do become clients. And the beautiful part about this is that when you get people as a referral partner, it doesn't matter whether they buy the program right away or they buy the program down the road. If you sign them up as a referral partner, whenever they buy the program, you're going to get the commission for it. Because people are not allowed to buy the program from themselves. They have to buy the program from the person that introduced them to the company. Okay? So that's why this whole recruiting in order to expose people to the program works so well. Because we're never selling anything. We're just introducing them to the program, letting them learn about the program. They're going to make that decision for themselves. And what I find really interesting is in these conversations I have with people, I get people that'll say straight out to me, well, hey, before I start referring, I'd really like to look at the program for myself first. And, maybe I should get the program and see how it works. And, I'm going to use it for a little while before I start referring people. And a lot of times people will do that. I mean, they like the program and they want to get it, and they don't even want to refer until they've started using it. They want to buy it before they start referring. And they will bring that up to you. You don't have to ask. Okay? And it's really quite amazing how often people will just come right out and ask you, I'd really like to see how it works. Can I get a savings analysis done on my own situation? Now, of course you can. Okay? So again, just whatever you're doing, it's starting a conversation. Just keep your little bullet points in mind, the things that are good for the different professions. Keep our credibility points at the forefront of your mind. It's not a bad idea to print these out on a piece of paper so that you remember that we won the Editor's Choice Award. You remember that we won the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 2008. You remember what the publisher of Broker Banker magazine said about us, that T. Harv Eker endorsed us, that Mark Victor Hansen that wrote 1 Minute Millionaire endorsed us. Those are all credibility points, and you want to kind of have those memorized so you can drop them into conversation. But anyway, that's a great way. It's a great approach to take. I hope you learned something here on the call today that's going to help you make your appointments. If you have any questions, give me a ring. My number is 407-443-0348. Keep the teamsue.com website bookmarked on your browser so you can refer to it. I even suggest that when you go to the teamsue.com website, that you enter your email address into the box on that blog, because that way anytime I update the blog, you will get a notification that it was updated. You'll get all of your training through that, etc. Please call me anytime I can help you. Thanks for being on the call today.